are going to go ahead and get started. Yes, Maureen. Oh, okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about tangents and secants. We talked about tangents. Secant is just another kind of line that's intersecting with a circle, right? So they sound very complicated, but it's just another line going through a circle, all right? So we know a tangent is a line that intersects a circle at exactly one point. A secant is a line that intersects in 2 points. So exactly 2 points. So let's go ahead and underline that. That's what makes it a secant. A line or a chord, because remember that a chord is part of a line, right? So it's just a section of the line. So the chord and the line pretty much have the same properties. So it's a line in the same plane that intersects the circle in exactly 2 points. So a secant and a secant. There's 3 secants here. There's 2 secants here. Okay? Nothing fancy. It's a line that intersects the circle twice. It goes through that circle at exactly 2 points. No more, no less. Okay. What kind of angle is angle X? What kind of angle is angle X? What kind of angle is angle X? It's a vertical angle, right? So we know that angle X and the angle opposite across it have the exact same measure, right? But if we don't know what that measure is, then we don't know what either one of them are, right? Or we don't have any of the numbers with regard to the angle. But this new rule says if we have 2 secants that cross in a circle and they create these vertical angles, the measure of the arc on either side of those secants that's intersected by those angles from those secants, if you add them together and divide by 2, we'll know what that angle measure is. All right? So the arc plus the arc divided by 2 equals the measure of that angle created by the 2 secants. So we do know these are degrees, right? So 80 plus 60 divided by 2 equals, in this case, x, right? So that's 140 divided by 2. So now we know that x has a measure of 70 degrees. Pretty easy, pretty valuable. Vertical angles are our friends. Oh, man. Okay, any questions on that? All right. And the figure below, the measure of arc VW is 78 degrees. So I'm going to mark, and let's all mark 78 degrees here. And the measure of arc XY is 92 degrees. And we want to find the is that right? XY VW. Okay. We want to find the measure of angle Z. So this is the angle being intersected. And you're going to be careful because you're tempted to do arc plus arc divided by 2 equals this angle, right? But this angle and this angle aren't necessarily congruent, right? So we're going to use our formula, arc plus arc divided by 2 equals our angle. And we're going to be finding the measure of this angle. Well, if we know the measure of this angle, these are a linear pair, right? So then we can subtract from 180. As I'm working this right now, I'm pretty sure I worked this wrong in second period. So make sure you're answering the question that they've asked. Morgan, do you need to come and stand at the standing desk? Okay, let's do it. So let's start. 92 plus 78 divided by 78, a lie, divided by 2 equals x. X is not the angle we're looking for, but if we know that angle, we can find it. Say again? 92 plus 78 is 170 divided by 2, 85? Okay. So 180 minus 85. So once again, we've got to make sure we're answering the question that they asked. Don't jump to the conclusion that it looks the same as the last one you've done, like your teacher did in second period. Any questions? Okay. Let's look at, what if they give you the angle in one arc? So if they give us a measure of angle AEB, that's 65 degrees, and they give us a measure of angle, our arc, AB, is 51. What we don't know is the measure of this arc, and that's what they're asking us to find. So we're still going to use the arc plus the arc, but in this case, we don't know the arc, so we're going to use a variable. Arc plus arc divided by 2 equals the angle. Can you write it down for me, Adine? We're going to start by multiplying both sides by 2, right? And now we're left with x plus 51 on the left side and 130 on the right side. And so now we know that the measure of arc CD is 79 degrees. And we can test it. 79 plus 51 divided by 2 equals our angle measure of 65 degrees. So these are easy to go back and check and make sure you got them right. All right, y'all caught up with me? All right. A new rule. These kind of look like the inscribed angles that we worked with, but it's created by a tangent and a secant. So this is a ray, but that ray is part of the line for AB, or BC there. So that's still a secant. This is a tangent. It touches circle M at exactly 1 point. That point of concurrency is C. This rule says that if this angle that's created by a tangent and a secant is always 1/2 of the arc it intersects. Okay? So it's simply the arc divided by 2 equals the angle. Just like the inscribed angle rule we learned. This is not an inscribed angle, but it has the same rule. So for this example, the arc is 120 divided by 2. Now we know that the angle is 60. So x is 60 degrees. Any questions on that? All right. That was pretty straightforward. All right. If we have 2 secants, so these are 2 lines that cross through the circle in exactly 2 points. Tangent and a secant, because this one only touches in 1 point, right? Or 2 tangents. This rule says that this big arc that intercepts this angle minus this smaller arc that's intersected by this angle divided by 2 equals the angle. So arc minus arc divided by 2 equals the angle. Someone brought this by what used to be Cook Zimmerman's room, that old guy, I don't know why. All right, so let's see what that looks like on this example. Big arc minus little arc divided by 2 equals x. So 30 divided by 2, so now we know x is 15 degrees. So far, so good? All right, what's the equation for this middle one? 190 minus 50 divided by 2 equals x. So that's 140 divided by 2, so that angle measures 70 degrees. Yeah? What's happening here? I only have one arc. So we're going to count just drawing these points of concurrency to make things a little bit more obvious here. We have this arc labeled 260. What is the measure of this arc? It's not labeled, but can we find it? Charlie, how will we find it? So this smaller arc is going to be 360 minus that big arc. And so now we know that that smaller arc here is 100 degrees. All right, so we have done that on other kinds of problems before. This circle is only split into two arcs. So if this one is 260, then this one has to be 100. So now big arc minus little arc, 260 minus 100 divided by 2 equals x. So that's 160 divided by 2. So now we know that that angle measures 80 degrees. Yeah? Okay. So this is super important that you're taking note of it. Big angle minus little angle. The little angle, rather, is the big angle, is 360 minus the big angle. I made that more confusing than it needs to be, but I'll explain it in a minute. All right, so we're going to use our new rules. In this figure, the measure of PR is 164. So let's mark our diagram. The measure of arc PS is 74. Find the measure of angle PTS. So we'll call that X. Y'all can do that one. Do that one. Arc minus arc divided by 2 equals the angle. Arc minus arc divided by 2 equals the angle. Did you get it, Tori? You got it, Vivian? What'd you get? 40 degrees. Did you get it, Devanshi?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
40 degrees.
Okay, so let's see. Arc minus arc divided by 2 equals our angle. Well, 164 minus 74 is 80 divided by 2, and 80 divided by 2 is 40 degrees. Okay? Any questions? All right, so let's look at example 4. Let's mark our diagram. I see here they're giving us this measure of an angle and one arc. We have to find the measure of the other arc. We have a formula that we wrote, so it's going to be okay. We're going to plug in this angle AEB. AEB is 61 degrees. Arc CD, the little angle, is 45 degrees. The measure of arc AB is what we're looking for. So we're still using arc minus arc divided by 2 equals arc angle. And that's the big arc minus the little arc. The arc farthest away from the angle minus the arc closest to the angle. Right? So that's the first arc is our unknown. The second arc was given. We're plugging into the formula. And the angle was given. Okay? And now we just solve for x. So anytime we've got two terms in the top and a number on the bottom, we're just going to multiply by that number. Ours is always going to be times 2 because that's our formula, which leaves us x minus 45 equals 122. We're going to add 45 to both sides, and x equals 167. So the measure of arc AB is 167 degrees. If we want to double check it, take 167, subtract 45, divide by 2, and you should get 61. Any questions? All right, caught up with me? All right, in the figure below, the measure of angle DAB is 110 degrees. So let's mark our diagram. DAB, 110 degrees. They want us to find the measure of arc AB. So this angle does not intersect this arc. Can we find the measure of the angle that intersects this arc? We can, right? Because this whole thing is how many degrees? Yeah, so 180 minus 110 tells us that this angle is 70 degrees. So it's arc divided by 2 equals the angle. Arc is what we don't know, divided by 2 is equal to the angle that we do know. And then we're solving for x. So times 2 times 2. Now we know what we have named x, which is arc AB, is 140 degrees. So the formula looks like it selects itself the angle, but we can use it to find the arc and vice versa, right? Just like all the other rules we've learned. Any questions? Okay. We're down to our last one. Are we? No. Next to last one? Okay. In the figure below, let's go ahead and mark our diagram. Everybody mark their diagram. Arc ADB is 280 degrees. We want to find the measure of angle ACB, so I'm going to put a variable there. But I need the measure of this arc, don't I? Arc minus arc divided by 2 is my angle. Do we know what the measure of arc AB is? Charlie does. I do 72. Yeah. So this circle, once again, is split into only 2 arcs. This is one arc. This is the other arc. So to find the measure of arc AB, we take 360 minus 288, and I'm trusting Charlie that is 72. Now we use our formula. Arc minus arc divided by 2 equals our angle. You guys should be able to do that. Give you a head start. You through with it, Dario? You already got it? Okay, let's stay focused. So I filled in my formula is 288 minus 72 divided by 2 equals x. Anybody do something different? All right, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. And now we know 288 minus 72 equals 2x. 288 minus 72, I know what that is. 216. So 2x equals 216. I like my variable on the left side, so I swapped it. Divide both sides by 2. Now we know the measure of that angle is 108 degrees. Yeah? Any questions? Did you to that, please? Okay. This last one is the one I was telling you. You have to remember, and you don't have to write this down, but if the circle is divided into 2 arcs exactly, and you're given 1 arc, we know, we just did it, to find the second arc, we just subtract from 360, right? Well, even with no arc, we can do that. We know the total circle is 360 degrees, right? So we're going to call the big arc we don't know its measure. So that's what we call the measure of the big arc. So we're going to put x here. Now, if the measure of the big arc was 260, like one of our last examples, we take 360, subtract 260, and we know the other arc is 100 degrees, right? But if we don't know the measure of either arc, we can still use that premise. So the small arc is just going to be 360 minus the big arc. All right, I'm going to show you how we use that. They tell us that this angle is 140 degrees. So this arc is x. This arc is 360 minus x. So we're going to use that formula, arc minus arc, divided by 2 equals the angle. So it's big arc minus little arc, divided by 2 equals the angle. Why does it look like a check mark instead of an angle? I swear. Some things don't line up for my brain. There we go. All right. So the big arc minus, we have to put the little arc in parentheses, divided by 2 equals 140 degrees. Arc minus arc, big arc minus little arc, divided by 2, divided by 2, equals the angle, equals the given angle here. So now we're going to simplify this numerator. Remember, distribute the minus. X minus 360 is x minus 360. Minus negative x is what? Plus x. Don't mess that up. Now we're going to simplify this again. Remember, that's 1x plus 1x. So that's 2x minus 360. That's what this simplifies to, right? 1x plus 1x is 2x minus 360, all divided by 2 equals 104. Now, we're going to get rid of that 2 first, so we're multiplying both sides by 2. So now, those simplify to 1. That's what we have in our next step. What do we have to do now? What are we going to do now? Add 360. So 2x equals 568. Divide both sides by 2. 211. What'd you get? 284. That sounds right. So now we know the big arc is 284. Right? So the question is, so whether we're finding the big arc or the little arc in these kind of problems, we're always solving for x first. Now, if we're looking for the big arc, which we are doing here, they ask us for this arc, then we're done. So the measure of this arc is 284. Now, if they'd given us this exact same problem with the exact same given and asked us to find the measure of arc WB, we would have taken x and subtracted it from 360. That's the only difference. We have one more step. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. Y'all would try to tuck your backpack under your desk so I don't fall over them. That'd be great. I don't think the notes are posted, and I don't want you to get it submit them right now anyway. I want you to go ahead and get started on your assignment, and I will post them in a minute. Sorry? Yes, I can keep it up.